Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm trying not to make it too long-winded, but I do want to say some things. So, and Ron's not here, but we have been including a lot of the tribal elements in some of our burn projects. And what is really great is to have Ron come out and do a presentation for a bunch of fresh-faced firefighters and really give them a perspective of what tribal burning is, appreciation for the land, and some things that we just don't get on a institutional, this is how you put out a fire basis. So really that restoring that connection with that next generation of how to fight fire and how to do land management, incorporating some of those techniques and things, and talked about bugs and trees and the relationship and a healthy tree producing acorns as we're doing these vegetation management programs. And it was great to see just these wide eyes and just open ears of how it had been done for thousands of years and where we need to get back to on a land management side. So I have told Ron thank you repeatedly, welcomed him to those kind of events, because I think that is key in not just today's process here, but where we take in the next generation and how we get that land, that appreciation for where we've been. I'll give some history on Lake County. 70s, 80s, even in the 90s, Lake County was known in the fire service as a fire factory. So, fire factory, because we had a lot of fires. So it's not uncommon. The terrain up here is suited to that. The fuels are conducive to that. But we didn't have those 10,000, 15,000 acre fires, and fires would slow down during the night, which is really where we can really make some aggressive actions. Starting with the Valley Fire, which was really a seminal fire for us, is that fire didn't slow down, didn't settle down at night. We were fighting the same fire at 2 in the morning that we were at in the afternoon. So that was an unusual part of that, but just to give you some perspective on that. Jim Wright was in here. I don't know if he's still around, but our fire service, we do stand on the shoulders of giants, and some of those like Jim that really have that history in the area, and just wanted to really thank him for that. Coming into our fire season for 2025, one of our Intel fire prediction folks described the upcoming season as spicy. I don't like that. I'm not a fan. However, what that says is we're going to have the early season warm-up like you're seeing, feeling today. We have a great grass crop, which is your primary carrier of fire in the wildland situation. And then we're going to see a lot of drier conditions coming up through the summer to fall. So they're predicting a long fire season for us. This weekend, today, tomorrow, into Monday, they're predicting lightning, some of the first rounds, and that is going to be a concern throughout the summer. So things to be aware of. Typically, on the operational side, we see more lightning producers. Those are the closed-off lows or low-pressure systems that scoot up the coast from down south and then head east right over the top of us. Those are guaranteed to give us a lot of lightning. Again, not a lot of fun chasing those, but important to know that we're stepping into that kind of a season. I do have a few posts that I put out, and I'll put out another one as we come up to fire season, and that is how to use your smartphone to locate a fire. So locate, as I mean, you see a smoke, you're standing here, how do you tell where that fire is? Go into your compass app on your smartphone, aim it at the fire, and that will give you two things. It'll give you a distance or a bearing on the compass, and it will also give you your lat and long of where you're at. Our dispatch center can use that latitude, longitude to plug in where you are, and then we can plot where that fire is away from you. So those are numbers that are important, and as you're reporting that smoke to where that smoke's coming in, it really does help us locate that. If you're seeing smoke out in the area, what's the bearing off of your location where that fire is. So I'll put that out again. Just be looking for that. As more on the fire season this year, we do have augmented aircraft. So we have 2 additional helicopters, not just the Firehawk that's sitting up the mountain above us. We also have 2 exclusive use helicopters, one in Sonoma, one in Napa. The Napa copter will be night capable. So their shift will run from 3 in the afternoon till midnight. So we'll be able to have aircraft over the fire at night. This is a change, something we've really implemented across the state, because it's not really the water dropping at night. It's really being able to see where that fire is and where it's going, and kind of that information intel that we don't have without those eyes in the sky. We have been working all around the county with open historic dozer lines. We have about 42 miles of dozer line that we'll be working on improving. Another big program we have coming up in the next couple years is, folks here should be familiar with the Widow Creek fire. Happened in the 60s, started in Kelseyville, blew up over the top of Coldwater Creek into the Cobb Basin. We are working on about a 1,200 acre VMP in the Coldwater Creek area to take a lot of fuels out of that. So anticipate that, probably not this year, maybe next. But so vegetation management plan. Sorry, we really like the acronyms. So we have acronyms for acronyms, kind of like abbreviation. We like that stuff. So yes, vegetation management program. And what we're doing is we're bringing a whole academy worth of dozer operators here, and we'll be training them on the terrain in Lake County. So they'll be pushing dirt, making piles, and we'll be doing burning out there in that. So real exciting. It helps us take some of the large work projects out of that area. And for me, just as a selfish Cobb resident, looking to prevent that fire from happening again. On that same note, we do have 3 components that affect fire behavior, and that is fuels, weather, and topography. So we can change one of those. We can change the fuel. Can't change the weather, and we can't change what the ground is shaped like. So that's why you see fires in the same spot years later acting the same. So Tubbs Fire was the Hanley Fire. The fire that we just spent 3 weeks on in LA, the Palisades Fire, that fire happened in 1961 with the Malibu Hills Fire. That fire burned from Mulholland down to Malibu. Same exact fire happened 50 years later. So what we want to prevent, same thing out of the Cobb Valley, is that fire coming out of Coldwater Creek or something in the Kelseyville drainage and blowing up over the mountain. We are working on another large vegetation management program in a burn. It's be the first in the county burning the sides of the highway and the median on Highway 29 in Lakeport. So we're going to go from the Nice Lucerne cutoff into the town of Lakeport, burning both sides of the highway and the median, because we get a lot of roadside starts in that area. So people driving down the road with their trailer chains dragging on the road, creating sparks. And those are always a challenge because you have homes right up there. So that program will put about 30 feet of black line from the side of the roadway up to the slope, and for that distance in there. So that'll be a first of the kind in the county, but really looking forward to that. Bouncing around a little bit here, Ready, Set, Go. Wanted to just make sure everybody was aware. You can visit readyforwildfire.org. Those same materials you saw outside on your planning and what you need in your go bag are available on our website, the readyforwildfire.org. And I did want to tell one thing that I've really been trying to push the messaging on is Zone 0. So that is the area, the ember-resistant zone from your house to 5 feet out, nothing combustible. We say that's one of the most important zones, and I would agree with that, because we can't provide a fire engine for every house when we get a fire, and that house needs to stand on its own. So with not having any fuel there, not every fire is a valley fire. You don't have a 100-foot flame fireball going over the top of houses. There's nothing to do for that. It's prevention, but once that fire gets started, it's going to be deadly. What we can do is that when the fires settle down and they come down to a ground fire that's a flame length of 2-3 feet tall, then that fire, as it marches towards houses, if it doesn't have continuous fuel to get to the structure, that structure will stand. And the fire will burn right around it and go on to the next. So really important to get that Zone 0 done. So nothing combustible, no chips, no grass, no vegetation. It's having that all the way cleared, all the way around the house from 0 to 5 feet out. And my phone just keeps telling me it wants to go to sleep here. Last I'll talk about is what I like to call doing the right thing at the wrong time. That is weed eating when it's 90 degrees outside in dry grass. Please, I see everybody going, yep, yep. 40% of our fires last year were caused by equipment. So mowers, weed eaters, tractors, equipment out in the wildland doing work. So 40% of our fires could have been prevented by not operating that way. So don't run a weed eater when it's 100 degrees. Definitely don't do it in the afternoon. And metal blade mowers shouldn't be used anytime the grass is dry. So keep that stuff out of there. Help us. Don't get that ignition started. They say what happens is even with the string trimmers, that grass will get around the head of the trimmer, generate heat, and start a fire. So it's not uncommon for us to pull up to a site of a fire and see equipment and then burned up equipment and fire all around it. So it's pretty easy to spot a cause in those situations. But I'm also here to answer any questions folks have. If you want to, yes, Dave. Sir.
I say this only partly tongue in cheek, but is there anything that can be made more difficult and complicated about getting a burn permit? I've tried it recently, and it seems like there's a new website with something that doesn't work, and it refers to something else, and that one points back to something else, and it's like I got into a weird circular.
Yeah, the burn permit process transitioned from the fire chiefs to the air quality management district. So that has been a challenge with that program. I would reach out to your community advocate, who is Jessica Peiska, and let her know of the issues with the system, because that is a county agency, even though they report to the California Air Resources Board.
County air quality reports to the state.
Yep. Yeah, that is a division of that. Yes.
Napa Resource Conservation District is holding a webinar on how to do a smoke management plan using that prescribed fire incident reporting system. It's going to be on Tuesday and Thursday, this Tuesday and Thursday. So if you go to Napa RCD, you can register there. It'll go step
So
by step.
Napa, the Napa RCD website for how to get a smoke management plan through the PFIRS system. More abbreviations. Love it. Glenneth, did you have your hand?
Yeah, you guys did amazing work with all those big trees in Middletown. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you turned in, you resulted with a lot of biochar with a massive stack. The rumor is those are free, but I got a small lot. I don't need a big
Sure.
stack like that. Is anybody going to break those down?
Yes. So Glenneth had a question on the biochar in Middletown. We ended up with about 450 bags of 1,200-pound totes, so 450 of them. I had 2 of them dropped off at the Middletown Garden. So they're sitting over there. They're on the southeast corner of the Middletown Garden, just sitting on the ground. Take your 5-gallon Home Depot bucket over there and get all you want. Because unless you need 1,200 pounds of it, it's a lot.
No, that's the, I heard that and I go, what am I going to do with that much?
Yes, sir.
So fairly new to the area. I've been here
Welcome.
almost 5 years, and fires have always been kind of in the back of our mind. So we've been doing a lot of property cleanup. But I'm just on the other side of Loch Lomond, and I noticed there's a alarm system that I believe is in place and it's tested from time to time. Is there a way to understand? So I'm not, fire. That there, I know it's a test.
Sure.
Rather than the real deal happening.
So
How do I get information?
So Lake County Alerts is the Lake County OES website. Sign up on that website for notification from them, not just for the alarm testing, but for any kind of evacuation. So that is the community evacuation system, is the Lakeco Alerts. They utilize Nixle and their own Everbridge system out of that. The sirens that are placed around the community, and I'm aware that there's gaps and issues with those, but that is what we have currently. Those are there as a community emergency notification system that says pay attention to the information coming out from Lakeco Alerts on what emergency is happening and what you should do. So that sirens doesn't mean you need to evacuate now. It just means pay attention. and look for more information because it's a one-way siren communication out. And if you're new, the Cobb Area Radio Network, great thing to have that will help you with staying in communications. Go ahead.
Thank you for your service, Paul.
You bet.
So you're mentioning that this year is being spicy. Are you coming yourself in as a fire watch as well, knowing that the conditions of what it's going to be?
The question was, are we posting any fire watch or anything in the community as relates to the high fire danger? That would be no. However, we do have cameras that overlook this area on a 3-minute rotation. So all cameras have been upgraded to AI technology. So all the Alert California wildfire cameras have AI technology for smoke detection. What that means that those take a picture, and that's every 3 minutes. They make a rotation. They stop. They take a photo. Actually, 4 of them. 3 pause. Take another one. They look for motion in that column, motion, and it triggers on that and makes a notification back to the notification center, and that calls our dispatch. The nice thing about that over the fire tower is at night the fire tower can't see. It's just some glow on the hillside where the camera can actually pinpoint that, can switch to infrared, locate that source. Sure. Yes, sir.
What do we do about neighbors that aren't pulling their weight?
The question was, what do we do about neighbors not pulling their weight? The community development has a reporting of hazardous lots. So you can report hazardous lots on the community development site for reporting of hazardous lots within the county. Know that there's one person assigned to that program. And really the best thing to break that down is you talk to your neighbor, really. Try and get communications with them. If you can reach them, to try and have them do clearing around their lot, or the community development is the other option for listing as a hazardous lot. Sir?
Last time I looked at this, apparently our only option on lots that are less than an acre is to haul it off to
Correct.
or to Quackenbush.
Well, that's
You have to have something to haul it in.
oh,
Is there
correct.
any possible option to get a community biochar?
Well, we did have a community drop, actually 2 community days of drop off at the biochar machine down in Middletown. But your options, if you're under an acre, is green waste or hauling it to Quackenbush for disposal. If you have a lot of material, Robert Thomas does have means of transporting that. So if you have tree debris, that kind of thing. If you have tree debris that's remaining from PG&E activities, like they fell logs, left them in your lot, follow up with the supervisor, send her an email, and she has a contact directly to PG&E that we can facilitate that. What, been doing that? Well, they ran out of money in that program, but if you're on the list, then hopefully we can get to you before. And I see.
So I have an acre.
Yes.
So, and I have stuff to haul away,
Okay.
get home, or,
There's no publicly funded means of doing that. You still have to pay for that.
no, because I did take stuff down in Middletown also.
Oh, good. Perfect. Yes. I see another hand. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a safe fire season.